Hey, my name's Rajesh. I'm a direct lender based in Los Angeles. Last time we looked at 111 26 Crenshaw Boulevard in Ingle, California, and I wasn't too happy with the returns as a long-term hold because it was only 8x your money over 30 years. And so today we'll be looking at it as a condo project. And what I found out was that this project was, at least in my opinion, still not worth it. And we'll get into the details why. But I just want to point out that sometimes buildings just don't work out. Not every investment is a worthwhile investment, and that's why you need the tools to separate good investments from bad investments. And through this process, we will be applying those tools to this building that was not a winner as a long-term hold, and we're going to look at it and see if it's a winner as a short-term hold. Let's get into it. Inglewood, up to no good. So let's see here. I wasn't too happy with my last analysis of this property, not because I think I did a bad job, but because I think there's more cash to be had from this property. Not every property is a winner for a rental, for a long-term rental hold, because, for example, this one returns 718% or 8x its initial cash investment over 30 years. So 8xing your money sounds like a lot, but when you consider it's done over 30 years, not so much, especially when I've had properties on this channel, when I've featured properties on this channel that feature like a 32x or a 40x or a 41x or even a 20x. So 8 is relatively low, but I think there might be a way to get some more money out of this property, and I'm just going to do an analysis on it and see if that idea holds up. It's 3 and 2 bedroom units, so not this has 2 vacant units also, and the strategy we're going to try to implement and see if it works out is whether turning them into condos actually works. And why condos as opposed to just keeping them as rentals? Because then people own the building or own their own unit in the building, and ownership is where wealth grows. But yeah, ownership is where wealth grows, because now you're holding onto something that's going up in value at the rate of or faster than the rate of inflation. So it's $220,000 a unit. Zip code is 90303. And what we're going to try here is try to see what it's going to cost to turn units into condos in that zip code, 90303. Cost of turning units into condos. Multi-family units into condos. Full breakdown of costs from optimistic to pessimistic, liberal to conservative valuations. Costs. So the actual legal fees are not the issue. It's more that you got to move the tenants out. You got to rehab the units. So let's say $50,000 per unit. And here we have the OM. So we might be able to see some value add property means it needs rehab. 4 2-bedroom, 1 3-bedroom. Potential seller financing. Let's see, built in 1956. 1 building. Let's see if I can scroll here. Does it say 3 garages? So you can convert those into units as well. So depending on the condition of the units, market GRM, current GRM, year 1 GRM. So when I did the original analysis, I used 9.72. Year 1 market cap, year 2 is 9.09. I don't know how they're figuring this out. And here they have the current rents, which come in at 9,434, and they're estimating it to be at 12,000 somehow. Here is the net operating income based on current 67,423, year 1 68,792. These are all numbers that I'd originally used in my previous analysis. So you're going to have to do a lot of work to get the market rents. So for example, current rents is 1084. They're saying that it'll come up to 1117, and market rents are actually 2350. So they're somewhere in the $2,300 range, and the 3-bedroom is $2,900 a month. Whereas right now it's 0,000, 1,600, 1,500. So you've got to somehow remove these tenants, fix up the units, and then get market rate tenants in there. My guess is, yeah, you can fix it up, but that's going to cost you money, and the return is going to be a lot slower. And the next video I'm going to do it again on the same building, and we're going to use the market rent analysis to see whether it's worth investing in and fixing up. But right now I just want to stick with the condo, turning these into condos. So let's see here. City fees and all that, $14.92 per unit. Subdivision tract, parcel map, processing, that is let's see here, anywhere from 25,000 to 250,000. So we've already got $14.92 per unit. So let's break out this right here so we can write this down. 1492 per unit times 5 is equal to 1492 times 5, 7460. And then we have anywhere from this is the parcelization or subdivision of these lots or the building. So you're looking between 25 and 250. So I'm going to assume the worst case scenario and say 250. Let's see here. No. $250. Tenant relocation. So vacant tenants or tenants already leaving, minimal exposure, high rents, long tenancy, multiple protected tenants, delays, legal. So let's take a look at this OM here and see what kind of rents are they. Are they on long-term rents or are they monthly? They are saying, it says occupied, it doesn't really say anything else right here. So that's lack of information. We're going to have to, I'm going to say somewhere between 10 to 25,000 a unit. You know what? Let's be pessimistic. Let's be super pessimistic. 60,000 per unit. Okay. So 60,000 times 3 is equal to 180 because 2 units are vacant. And you're not really going to have to empty out a unit that's already vacant. So let's see what you must upgrade to sell units individually: life safety, habitability, separations, utilities. Let's see if these have separate utilities. They don't show utilities. %75% recapture of utility cost. All operating expenses are pro forma per industry standard. Reflects 3% in place rent increases, property taxes, and ad valorem. Direct assessments are per 2025 actuals. So they should have a profit and loss in here saying what utilities are. So they're spending $1,000 per unit. So that means this building does not have its own utilities. So now you have to separate the electric meters, separate gas meters, and separate water lines. More if repipe, sewer line, 5,000 to 50,000. So you can see these costs are adding up really quickly. And that's why I'm doing this analysis to see if this is even worth it, because I don't like to give up on a building too easily. I like to figure out, what's going to take the least amount of work, the least amount of cash investment to get the most amount of return out of a building. So we're looking at between 1,000 to 6,000 per unit just for water, sewer line repairs if necessary. This building wide 5,000 to 50,000. So again, we're just going to go assume the worst case scenario in each case, because this will determine whether it's worth the time. And if it ends up costing less, great, that's extra profit. But if the worst case scenario does not work out, then it's not worth digging into deeper. So we've got 15,000 times 5, so electric, 15,000 times 5, 75,000 here. And then we've got gas meters, 10,000 per unit. Is equal to 50,000. Water, submetering, plumbing, upgrades. So we're looking at $6,000 per unit. More if repipe, but that's why I'm taking the worst case scenario of everything so that it's already included in there. Because more if repipe, what is that? More is 6,500 per unit, 7,000 per unit, 10,000 per unit, 100,000 per unit. I do not know. So I'm going to go with 6,000 per unit here because that's the only number that is actionable. It's equal to 30,000 per unit, 30,000 right there. And then we've got 50,000 for sewer line repairs. Okay, let's see what is the next, the common area rehab. So we're looking at light turn, paint, floor fixtures, mid remodel, bathroom, kitchen, bathroom refresh, heavy remodel, full gut, layout, windows, HVAC, 45 to 120 per unit, exterior, common areas, landscaping, parking. So this is the real cost right here. I was thinking somewhere between 50 to 100,000 per unit. This says between 45 to 120, and that's because of the HVAC. I'm going to place it at about 60,000 per unit without having seen the interior. So this is equal to 300,000. Okay. So professional fees, the always forgotten bucket. Real estate attorney, conversion docs, disclosures. So you see the rough in right here. Projected project costs between 300K per unit, 200K, then add broker conditions. So let's see here. Fixed project cost is 300, 200, that's $1 million right there with 5 units, and plus relocation, another 200,000 right there. So $1 million, 1.2 plus 300, so $1.5 million roughly is the estimate of ChatGPT. So let's see what this actually adds up to. So let's see, this is 30,000, 25,000, 6,000, 30,000, 7,000, 10,000. We will do broker commissions later. So let's see here, 30,000. So remember, the rough math on ChatGPT pessimistic cost is $1.5 million. And we're going to add up my numbers and see how close they come to it. Then we got 25,000. We got the 25,000, then 6 and 30. Okay. Then we've got 7 and 10. And now we're going to add all this up. Okay, so 7,460, I'm just going to round this up to 7,500 just to have nice round numbers. 7,500 plus 250 plus 180 plus 75,000 plus 50,000 plus 30,000 plus 50,000 plus 300,000 plus 30,000 plus 25,000 plus 6,000 plus 30,000 plus 7,000 plus 10,000. And that is 1.06. And I used the most conservative numbers I could. I took the most conservative numbers in all cases. So the building is selling for 1.1 million, and the cost is 1,060,500 to turn into condos. So let's just say this is also purchase 1.1 million. We're just going to round it up, and this is a condoization. The M makes me laugh. I'm going to just get rid of it. Condoization. I don't know what the right way of saying it is, but we're going to go with condoization because condomization raises other images that I'd rather not think about right now. Let's see here. So this is a $2.2 million project, 5 units, right? So let's say 2.2 divided by 5 is $440,000 per unit. And now we got to see, let's go to Zillow.com, 90303. And I want to see condos here. And let's go any, apply. And you can see this is Gardena, not even Inglewood. So if I were to get rid of this boundary right here, we can get a good idea of what condos go for. So this condo is going for $545, $499, $419, $319, $434, $449, $650 here. But you can see there's a much newer building. This is $499, a much newer building. $549, this is also a much nicer looking building on the outside. So, and this is Los Angeles as opposed to Inglewood. So I don't know what happened there. Must have clicked the wrong button. So I mean, here's a building for $550, right? So here's some quick math for you. So we've already gotten the costs except the realtor costs. So if I were to divide this by 9, and let's say realtor costs are 6%, so if I were to divide this by 94%, I will get the break-even price. So 440 divided by 0.94 gives me 468 time 468,085. So if I were to 468,085 times 0.06 is equal to 28,000. Now, if I were to subtract that from 468,085, I should end up with 440,000, roughly $439,999.90. So yeah. So this is my break-even selling price, and I'm not even counting the holding costs or the closing costs of the loan required to purchase this building. This is just, hey, I bought this in cash, 1.1 million, and then I paid cash another 1.1 million to turn this into condos. And so the price jumped from, let's see here, 1 million or 1.1 million divided by 5, that's $220,000, to doubling it, $440,000, because the purchase price is 2.2, or the total cost of the project is 2.2. You would have to sell at 468,085 just to break even, and that's not counting any of the holding costs. Let's say the holding costs are let's say it takes you a year to do this, right? And that's being conservative, or that's being very liberal, rather. That's being very optimistic. So let's say you got financing for the 1.1 million soft costs and hard costs of remodeling it and turning it into condos, and then you put maybe 30% down here. So we're looking at 1.1 million, so 800,000 times, and we get that 5.875% interest rate. We're actually probably going to be closer to 7, just because this is not a buy and hold. This is a buy, turn into condo, so you need more like a bridge loan. So it's not even a 7%, it's closer to like 9 or 10%, assuming you have good credit. So let's say 9.99%, 0.099 So that's 79,000 right there for one whole year. Because I could divide this by 12, that gives me the monthly payments that you're doing on it, interest only, times 12, 79,200. So that means this has to be added back into here, 79,200. And then you want to make profit on this, so I'm guessing you want to make at least $200,000, right? Profit in a year, let's say 250. Okay, so now we have to multiply this by 5, or rather divide this by 5 and divide this by 5 to get the per unit cost. So let's see what that looks like. So we have 79,200 divided by 5, so 15,840. So we have 68085 plus 15,840 plus 250 divided by 5, so 50,000. So now let's see what that adds up to. 468,085 plus 15840 plus 50. So that's 533. $925. We can round this to 535 per unit. And let's just add in a little extra just to act as a buffer. So now we are at 550 per unit. And this is worst case scenario again. If these costs are less, then, you know, obviously this number is going to be smaller, and that just means these numbers, your profit would be bigger, because why would you sell for less than 550,000? The issue is that you're realistically not likely to get $550,000, because a 3-bedroom unit is going for $550. A 2-bedroom unit with 2 baths is going for $425. And according to this, these are 2-bed, 1-bath, 2-bed, 1-bath, and 3-bed, 2-bath. Let me scroll up here so my head's not blocking it, and then see if I can zoom in. So here you can see 2-bed, 1-bath, 2-bed, 1-bath, 3-bed, 2-bath. And here, this 3-bed, 3-bath is going for $550. Of course, over here you have a $650,000, but again, this is Culver City, not Inglewood. This one is a 3-bed, 2-bath, $595. Let's see what this place looks like. So, I mean, would you be able to get that kind of money for these apartments in this particular building? I don't know. So let's see what has actually sold recently. This was $550, but for a 2-bed, 2-bath, different neighborhood. Let me see here, 90303. If anything's actually sold. Nothing has sold here. Let's remove boundaries and see what's close to it. So 500,000 for a 2-bed, 2-bath, 440,000 for a 2-bed, 2-bath, 943 square feet. Here's a 3-bed, 2-bath that sold supposedly for 599,000. This one is 525. So remember, your minimum sales price is 533,925. I rounded it up to 535. List price would probably be somewhere around 550 to 600,000, right? And maybe you will get lucky and sell one unit for this, but based on comps in the area, I mean, this 3-bed, 2-bath in Hawthorne, it looks like a 2-story building, looks nice, 585. There's not a lot of room there to make a lot of money on this project. So this building does not work as a long-term rental unless you kick the tenants out and increase the rents. And even then, I'm not so sure because I've not done that analysis yet. I've only done it as just a buy and hold and turn it into condos, and neither of them seem to work. And this one for 745, unit 170, is not actually like a true condo. It looks like it's more a single family, a tiny single family, or a townhome rather than a true condo, which to me, when I hear condo, I think apartment that you own in a building that's attached to other units. This seems detached from everything else, and for that reason it seems more like a townhome in a community rather than a true condo. But regardless of that, this one's going for 745, 3-bed, 3-bath, and this is in Inglewood, but a different zip code, 90305. So it's a very different structure than the one that we were looking at, which, if you want to take a look at it again, this is what it looks like. And yeah, you're going to fix it up. You're going to spend money fixing it up. It's already been budgeted. It's going to cost you $1.1 million to actually turn it into condos and get it into condition and do the staging on it to make it look decent. It doesn't look like that big a winner of a project, and some projects are like that. That's why we do these analyses, so that we know what to spend our time on and what not to. So just because it's 1.1 million for a 5-unit building, probably not the best project if your goal is to buy and hold as an investor, or even turn it into condos, because it doesn't seem like the sales price, the sales comps are there quite yet, in my opinion. Yeah, so that's it.